Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of the Super Breakdown. Today we're looking at the RMS-108 Marasai, piloted by Jared Mesa, but also the Gabthley, piloted by Jared Mesa. This is a really interesting suit. So let's break down what we got. You have, for the Marasai, because you can control both with this, you have the basic shot, pretty good. Can fire pretty quickly, and manual reload as well. 4 shots that you can fire in a row and manually reload. Very nice. If you charge it, you get a Garobi. It's a thin line Garobi, but still very nice. It does the job, especially with how quickly you can pull it out. You can get some good damage from there. Right bumper gives you the little bit more powerful shot. Does lock you in place slightly, but it recharges relatively quickly because you are a low-cost suit already, which is very nice. You also have your left bumper, which lets you summon in your striker. Depending on orientation, you can get either the melee striker or the shot striker. Then you have right bumper, which lets you throw a stun. It can be kind of hard to hit with because it is a physical projectile, but you can do it as much as you want, and it doesn't have a charge. It doesn't stun for very long, but that makes the Marasai already a really great support unit between a beam Garobi that can destroy physical projectiles and a dedicated stun that you can throw out whenever you want. You can even combo off the stun into the stomp, which is really nice. Let's get into its melee kit too. And if we die, then we can show off the Gabthley. Because you may see it down there. The Gabthley is what you will respawn as when you die, which is really interesting. So we're going to try and fit all of the Marasai into this match and all the Gabthley into the second match. Emphasis on try. Let's see if we can get in here for melee. We have forward melee. Dashing forward melee, that is. Normal forward melee is the charge. Right there. Which is very nice. We have back melee, and we're going to come back as the Marsai, or as the Gabthley. You can change that if you charge melee. You can change which suit you'll come back as, which is very interesting. It's such a weird, cool mechanic. Let's go ahead and show off the burst. That's the Gabthley's version of the verse. Ends in a cool grab. Looks really nice. We have basic shot with the Gabthley. Does auto reload because again it is a more advanced suit as compared to the Marasai. You have the stronger shot there. You have the shoulder cannons, which are pretty nice. Multiple shots from them. In the second round, we'll try and fit in the rest of the moveset of this suit because when you pick the Marasai and Gabthley, you really are getting 2 suits at the same time. It's very interesting. Now, granted, you can't switch between them on the fly. You have to die before you can switch between them. But you're relatively low cost at 2,000, so you're going to probably die first anyway. You should be dying before your higher cost units. And that means that you can come back with a completely different moveset and really surprise people online. Let's show off the rest of the Marasai's melee. And maybe we'll get the Marasai's burst, and then we'll show off the rest of the Gabthley. We'll ask and answer our simple question. There's back melee. Should you use the Marasai and the Gabthley? Yeah, honestly, there's side melee. If you're curious about like playing around with a unit that lets you play 2 different units in the same match, it's really good. The melee is a little weak, but it does the job. And the dedicated stun that you can pull off whenever you want, paired along with the high-powered beam rifle that lets you fire off that quick Garobi. As you can see, we are decimating the Zeta Gundam, and I'm not even really paying attention because I'm trying to show off melee and talk. But we do need to die. If you could just kill us real quick, Camille. You, come on, just finish this off. Let's show off the Marasai's version of the burst, which is another Garobi. You can pull off another quick one there. So you have melee burst for the Gabthley, and you have ranged burst for the Marasai, which is pretty nice. Go ahead, kill me, please. We have more things to show off on the Gabthley. There we go. All right. We have mobile armor mode, which you can come out of. There's forward melee. Pretty nice. Regular melee. Again, we have to show all this off while we can. Don't die before we show it all off, please. Left bumper is the striker, which is exactly the same as the other. You have two different uses from it. One the melee, one the beam. Come on. Come on, Camille. Stop running. I prefer the Marasai's moveset, but the Gabthley's moveset is not terrible. I should have switched it up there, because now we're back with the Marasai. I think the Gabthley's melee is not quite as good as the Marasai's, but it's still not bad. Back melee on the Gabthley is also a pop-up, which is not terrible. Let's finish this off here. Yep. And then all that's left is to take him out. I think the Gabthley and the Marasai are absolutely worth using. The Marasai maybe more so than the Gabthley, but being able to come back with mobile armor is very handy. I do still want to show off, we'll do a third match here, because I do still want to show off the rest of the Gabthley's melee. But I also don't want to lose them, so let's pop that up real quick. But I do think this unit is worth using. I think that, again, the Marasai is more situationally useful, and not being able to switch between them without dying is going to hold you back at times where you want the other moveset. You wind up in a matchup where the Marasai is not the one that you need. Like, you're up against a Virtue, and you need that quick mobile armor movement from the Gabthley. The good news is, when you die to a bad matchup, you will come back as the suit that you need. The bad news is, you've lost cost at that point. So, there definitely are pros and cons to it. We're gonna let him kill us so we can get to Gabthley. Camille, don't run. Kill me. Camille. Camille. Camille! Attack me, Camille, please! I'm right here. What if I come in for a melee? Alright, attack me. Oh my gosh, Camille, you're the worst. I hate you so much right now. Thank you. Just burning time that we could be using to show off the Gabthley. Come on, Camille. I dodged that one without thinking. Come on. Only 126 HP to go. Do that combo again and you got me. Come on. Oh, come on. 6 HP. There we go. Alright. Trekker has a Garobi on it, which is very nice. Pull that off pretty quickly. You have the shoulder cannons, as we talked about before. Back melee is that dash. Pop up. Side melee. Pretty nice little combo. Forward melee. Looks really cool. And standard melee. We missed. Standard melee is pretty solid. Gabthley has more mobility and has a little bit better melee combos, I suppose. I still prefer the Marasai's, but they do do a little bit more damage and are a little bit easier to hit with. However, the Marsai has that dedicated stun that you just cannot weigh enough. It has the Garobi that you can pull off whenever you want, whereas with this one you have to wait for your striker to be able to get the Garobi. They're both very good, both with ranged and with melee. I just prefer the Marasai. But again, you can choose, like for instance, I only want to play with the Gabthley. After my first death, I can come back as the Gabthley every time by charging melee and being able to select which suit that I want. I do wish you could select which suit you want for round 1 for the first spawn in, but it does the job relatively well. Fire, of course, out of mobile armor mode. You cannot melee out of mobile armor mode. You have to cancel mobile armor mode first. But you do that just as easily by pressing right trigger again. Or by releasing right trigger if you're holding it. And then if you release it, as you saw just a second ago there, if you release it at the right time, melee, and then hit it again, you'll go straight back into mobile armor mode as if nothing happened. Which is very nice. And of course you have the dedicated roll from it. Let me know your thoughts on the Marsai and the Gabthley down below. And until next time, I've been Trey. This has been the Full Spectrum. Remember to always enjoy the full spectrum that the Marsai and the Gabthley have to offer.